This is the Wrestling with Your Calling podcast with Dr. Conrad, Season 2, The Matters of the Heart. I'm your host, Dr. Conrad Davies. For this season, we're going to do a deep dive into the matters of the heart. Proverbs 20:5 will be our lead scripture. It says, "The purposes of a person's heart are like deep waters, but a person of understanding can draw them out." I pray that we become a people of understanding who draw out the deep matters of the heart. I'm excited about what you will learn today. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. You've reached another episode of Wrestling with Your Calling with Dr. Conrad. This is your host, Dr. Conrad Davies. Thanks, guys. I just wanted to share with you, I just want to share with you the beauty of how much I appreciate your support. Some of you are faithful listeners, and I'm so thankful for the faithfulness that you have where you've hit that subscribe button. You know when the new episodes are coming out, you're listening to them faithfully. You may be sharing them or passing along to others. I really appreciate you for that. So thank you for your support. If you have not picked up the book, Wrestling with Your Calling, um, Unleash Potential at Your Burning Bush, feel free to go to the website, wrestlingwithyourcalling.com, and you can see the website there. Um, Thank you. My biggest shout out right now is thank you, faithful listening supporters. Please pass this along. Please share this podcast with others. I just feel like there's things that I'm sharing that I think are going to prepare us for a journey we're stepping into here in the nature of our society, the nature of what's going on with humanity, issues of unity and reconciliation. They're really deep heart matters. But if we don't understand the heart, we don't see the heart, we don't recognize these deep things that are in our hearts, we actually may miss out on what the Lord is doing because we stay just on the surface. But imagine the imagery. This whole Proverbs 20:5 that I've been using this season is the purposes in a man's heart are like deep waters, but a man of understanding can draw them out. So if the purposes in our heart are deep, are like deep waters, think about the depth of an ocean. There's so much to explore, but notice how we like just to stay on the surface. Or notice if we have scuba diving gear, we only can go so far or the water pressure will kill us. It's too heavy, it's too big. And so imagine if we're engaging somebody, we're looking at the surface things and we're going down under the surface just a little bit. But if these things are like deep waters, we need understanding to draw out what really are the purposes of our engagements and our interactions and our times with people. So I'm saying a lot of this because today I want to spend, of course, I want to be thankful and grateful for you guys, but then I want to spend just a little bit of time thinking about the power of your heart plays chords. And what I mean by plays chords, I want to use a musical word picture throughout a lot of this talk. So here's the things I've shared already just about being thankful. And you're hearing some of my the emotional side of me, the gratefulness that I have for you. You hear intellectually what I'm saying to you. If you, of course, know English, you're intellectually understanding my words. There's a passion part of me and a desires in me, and there's a will in me, in my heart that you're hearing. In other words, these are not just singular departments that I'm speaking to you. Here's my intellect. Here's my passions. Here's my desires. Here's my will. Here's my emotions or my feelings. You're hearing all of that blending together in sound. And what's happening, I use Jesus's words. He says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So listen even to the words. The abundance of the heart, deep waters, heart is huge, it's complex. The mouth speaks. So every time you hear someone talking to you, you're not just hearing a singular department or a portion of their heart. You're hearing chords. Chords, let me give clarity there. When I say chords, for those that are not musical, it's this idea that there may be a root note that is being played. Say it's a C note, but then there's all these other notes around that C note that blend a sound that makes the sound very rich and verbose. And so you may have a G chord, an F chord, a C chord, and there's a root note, but notes that are around it. So let me give us kind of some stories to help draw this out a bit. Give an example. My wife and I are having a conversation. In fact, we were having a conversation recently. In this conversation, I'm hearing her rhetorically ask me questions. Well, why is this happening? I really don't have an intellectual answer for her. I can't answer that question because I don't have enough information to answer it. Or she's saying, well, this and this and this happened with this person and da 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 da. And I'm still at this place where I'm like, I want to engage this conversation, but I really can't. If I engage only the intellect, what happens is our conversation goes a poor direction because it's not really that she's needing answers to those questions that are rhetorically coming out of her, and she's not really looking for me to answer them because I don't know the question, but she's thinking aloud because she's in relationship and she's really emoting, and her emotion is, I'm frustrated, I'm sad, I'm angry about something, or something is bothering me. That's the core root note in that department of emotion is operating, but then the chords around it is the focus of the thing, the event, the circumstance that is happening. And that now becomes topic of conversation and language, but that's not really the core root note. And so so what brings sensitivity for me is I'm realizing, hey, sweetheart, of course, I can't answer this question. I'm not sure how to process this with you or engage this conversation with you. When I understand you're frustrated, I understand you're sad, I understand you're, yeah, I'm frustrated too, or yeah, that's not right. But then my root, my music that plays is a root note of intellect, and I'm taking the information and I'm processing that information, seeking answers for just simple knowing of the information of what these questions are coming from. And I can sometimes, because my root note and chord is playing intellect as a root note and chord, her root note and chord may be playing emotion. There's sometimes a misunderstanding because though she is expressing intellect, that's not the root note. I'm thinking the root note is intellect. And so the times past when I engaged intellect only, I missed the emotion and it made it worse. And she's getting more frustrated with me because I'm missing that she's sad or frustrated or angry or upset, and I'm caught up in the intellect, or vice versa. So let me flip the script. There are times if I'm expressing something, and I'm expressing something intellectually, she may be looking for, how are you, Conrad, feeling about that? How is that affecting you personally? Her default root note, it has a lens that comes out maybe potentially with an emotion that's connected to intellect and desires and passions and all these other things. And my default may be intellect that has emotion in there, yes. It may have desires and passions in there, yes. But I'm staying in this intellectual root note. And so when we're communicating, again, there's this potential clash. And so she may be seeking out, how am I feeling? Or she may, if I'm not expressing emotion, it may not connect with her as much because she has a default and I have a default, or vice versa. If I don't, if the let me not get too complex. So what's we've had to learn, I'm still learning, is having to say things like, "I'm frustrated right now, Candace," and then express the intellect of why that what causes frustration, or I'm sad, or I may cry and say, you know what, I don't know how to handle this because this has made me upset, that's made me upset. So I'm expressing the emotion first to connect and engage across our heart music that's playing to find harmony there. And then I start expressing the intellect, or vice versa for her. She may have to express very plainly, I am sad, I am frustrated, this makes me mad, and then vent and talk through the intellectual things so that the intellect part of me can turn on and I'm hearing what the root note is really saying, or I can at least be sympathetic to the root note, which is, this frustrates me and I'm angry about this or that. Now, again, this is not perfect, but I'm trying to paint a picture of it. When we talk about deep waters here of the heart, and we're talking about, and me using the word picture of our heart and our language that comes out of our heart is like chords and music and a multitude of different notes. We've got to truly recognize that everybody has their own musical arrangement. And now, when we talk to one another, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. When we're talking to one another, we're speaking in chords regularly, all the time. And if we get so zoomed into what did you say? We're thinking intellect. What is content? We're saying, what did you say? And we're missing the fact that this person may have used language, but yet they're really saying, you're scaring me. And they use language to push back and to defend themselves. And the real core root note is fear. But we're thinking fear, but we are doing some other things. We're thinking about the intellect of what that person says, when the fact is it was just fear. And when fear operates, we may find ourselves saying, oh no, I'm scared. So guys, I want to plant that seed. It's a little shorter recording today. I've got to pause because of some other things going on in my world right now. But I wanted just to give this to you to get you started thinking. And I may pick back up on this on another podcast. But we are done for today. Thanks for tuning in with Wrestling with Your Calling with Dr. Conrad. Hopefully things that I've talked about, as you chew on it, you'll realize that you speak in chords as well. And people are not fully understanding you because the chord you're speaking from is not the chord that person may hear. So, all right, guys, have a good rest of the day. Peace. Wow, friend, I appreciate your support of this podcast. This season is powerful, and I hope it brings you loads of encouragement, insight, and hope. I hope you listen to these episodes repeatedly and share them with your friends. If you haven't ordered a copy of the book, you can do so at our website, wrestlingwithyourcalling.com. Also, I'd love to coach you, so reach out for a consultation through the website as well. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me. All the contact information is below or on the website. And be sure to subscribe so that you're notified of the next episodes. I'll be putting out a lot of content this season. Remember, I want you to become an ace. Go be activated, cultivated, and empowered today. Until next time, friends. Shalom.